Hey guys, Agnerd here, uh, using my new Alumtech tripod selfie stick. So excited about that. Hey, today we're going to talk about sprayers, farm sprayers, PTO sprayers, tractor sprayers. That's what we have here. This is our 300-gallon um, sprayer. It has a PTO pump on it. Typically we use our sprayer we try not to spray a lot of harsh chemicals, but occasionally we will spray for weeds. And we'll do lots of liquid fertilizer, which is always good, makes things grow better, as well as we do some compost tea. We brew our own compost tea from chicken and chicken litter and goat manure. And so we typically brew that. Maybe I'll do a video on that someday. I'll do a 55-gallon batch and brew it up and put it in here and fill it up. There's a ratio I use and spray it, and it typically does well for us. But today we're going to spray some weed killer, and some of our pastures are getting taken over by goat weed. So, but for those of you guys that are starting your own, you're new to farming, starting your farmstead, homestead, those kinds of things, the sprayer is one of the best things you can get. You can buy one, you can make one. I bought this one. It's not a big manufacturer. It's just a guy that him and his sons built it. Got it out of Gilmer. Thank you for building that for us if you're watching. And Mike Spencer. And thank you for building this for us. But typically it's 300 gallons. They make all different sizes. They make some that are on a trailer that you pull behind your tractor. They make some that are 3-point hookup for your tractor. I recommend to get the size that's appropriate for you. Some of the things that determine the size for you is the amount of spraying you're going to be doing. So typically, I want to be able to mix up enough of whatever I'm spraying to get me through whatever I need to do. Now my place, it typically takes me all day if I'm going to spray my entire place, and it takes me about 3 of these dudes. So that's 900 gallons. I don't see me buying a 900-gallon sprayer. There are some 500-gallon sprayers and larger. 300 is about as big as I want to go to accommodate the size tractor I have. But I would hate to, there's 50-gallon or 100-gallon. I would be going back and forth all day long if I had a 50 or 100-gallon. So the 300-gallon works out good for me. I can mix up about 300 gallons worth and go to town. And typically, depending on weather, for me, I may get up in the morning, mix up a tank, spray whatever I do there, and then stop, because it typically rains in the evenings or afternoons, or the chances of rain increase in the evening. So by the time you spray, you need about 6 to 8 hours before it gets rainfall for whatever you're spraying to be effective. And so typically that works for me, is I may spray all day long, or I may spray one group at a time. So we're going to do a walk around. I'm going to show you some different things. One of the first things I'm going to show you is the PTO pump. There's several different versions of it. There's what it's made out of, what the housing's made out of, what the bearings, the rollers that are in there, and some of the variables to think about. Typically, you depending on what model you buy, a high end is going to be an 8 roller. When I bought this one, it was a 4. It went out on me in about 2-3 seasons, and I replaced it. I replaced the 4 roller with a 8 roller. The housing, the lower version, are cast iron, and that's what I had. The cast is whatever chemicals you spray are obviously the most abrasive to them. The next version, I think, is an alloy. I don't know if it's aluminum or stainless, and then a silver. So there's about 3 different versions. So I had the cast. One of the things you need to do is, after you spray it, you need to clean it and flush it very well and get all that whatever you have in there, chemical, compost tea, liquid fertilizer, liquid lime, all those different things you want to flush out of there. And then you want to lube it back. You want to put some WD-40, some oil to keep all those components inside well lubed. So those are some of the things we do there when we look at the PTO pump. Then the next thing is, well, what type of what size tank? We talked about that. What does the sprayer look like? The actual part that the actual apparatus that puts the chemical out. Two versions. There's a boom model where you have booms that project out on each side, or a boomless model. Here in East Texas, it's not highly windy. That's a contributing factor that if you have lots of wind, I would recommend not going with a boomless. So it's just one jet that sprays out both sides. Like mine has a 50-foot span, so it's one jet that sprays 25 foot this way and 25 foot this way. Where I could get booms and they would fold out to 25 foot this way, 25 foot this way, and then it would have jets, several jets that would make a consistent path or swath. So those are some of the things that we look at. I have the boomless. And it's also called, I think they also call them a boominator, but it is what it is. Typically, we mix up our chemical. We go, we rev it up. I don't rev it up to full throttle. I normally throttle down, but so we travel 4 miles per hour and maintain 40 psi on the sprayer on the pressure gauge there. This is the PTO pump that we use. You put it on there. We chain it off to the side so it won't spin and twist everything up. It has an in hose and an out hose. We also have a wand. We use that occasionally. We do not use that incredibly often, but I will say when we need it, and so I would recommend having it. I'm going to emphasize quite a bit that a sprayer is a foundational piece for your farm. It's just one of those foundation pieces that it's an investment, but it's not a huge investment, and it's one of those pieces that when you need it, and then you have it. I typically try to keep mine parked under some big pine trees, or parking under your equipment shed or your equipment barn, or wherever you may have it. So when we do go to spray, there are GPS apparatuses, devices that can be mounted on your tractor that will tell you exactly where you are. You can program it so that it will tell you, you put your width in there, how far your spray span is, and so it will tell you where you've been, and it'll keep you lined up of where you need to go. So those are very nice. I do not have one of those, and so what I use is an app on my phone. I use, don't give me the line, I think it's Farm Sprayer GPS, and I downloaded it on my Android phone, and it works well for me. That's just my operation, and so, but that's what I use, Farm Sprayer GPS. It's really great. It gives me lines of which way it recommends for me to go, to make sure don't have too much overlap, or I'm leaving gaps and those kinds of things. So when you get ready to use your tank, I recommend that you put some water in it, and then open up your filter, and that's what I'm going to do here, and let it drain out, let it flush, if you will. And I've already got water in it, and ooh, that's cold water too. Actually feels good because it's hot. There's a little screen. Make sure it's free from debris. There is an O-ring on this one. I don't know how well you can see that. Make sure you don't lose your O-ring, and make sure that when you go to put it on, it's not boogered up, so you don't contaminate. This sprayer has lots of cutoff valves, so I'm gonna cut that off so it'll stop the flow. It's not as hard to deal with. So I put that filter back on. I'm gonna go on and turn that valve back on so it's ready to go. Snug it up. You know my favorite saying, don't put a gorilla tight on it. Just get it firmly tight. Hey, real quick, I'm gonna pan over and get a shot of the sunflowers. They're still producing. You know, we planted those in March and man, they have gone full blown. So many different varieties. But that's enough sidetracking for the moment. We'll go back around here. This is our spray nozzle, the boomless sprayer. It has that's a 10. And it'll spray this way and it'll spray that way. You can take these two screws off. If you want to just spray on one side, you can take these screws off, and there's a plate in there that you can adjust it so it won't spray on both sides. It can spray just on that side. You can adjust that plate so it'll spray on that side, or you can adjust it where it'll spray on that side only, and or both, and that's what I have it set for here. So that's about all we have on our farm sprayer. Like I said, it's a foundational piece for you guys wanting to start. I'm not saying you have to have one, but I know it has helped my operation out, and the things that I can do without you know, just the liquid fertilizer aspect, not having to call a big fertilizer truck to come out, and then being able to do and those are all synthetic fertilizers, but to be able to do some natural, what I call natural, the compost tea is huge. And you know, I'd always prefer to do that. You know, we're starting the Christmas tree operation. I foresee us having to spray those. I've read where some other Christmas tree farmers, they typically spray a pesticide. You know, that there might be a few bugs in the trees before you know, 1st of November, so they'll be bug free. I've heard of fire ants getting in some trees and other little critters, and so this may come in handy for that. We'll play that with play that by ear. Once again, I want to be as free of synthetic chemicals as possible, but there are some applications where you have to have them. Anyhow, this is Ag Nerd here. Hope everybody has a great day. God bless.